Welcome to Writer's Mind. I'm your host, E.P. Balos. Today, I thought we'd talk about a little bit of Story Bible. It's something I'm not the best at. I will admit that I've gotten better over the years. I learned what I needed to do. For those that may not know or just starting out, a Story Bible is basically, you know, our world, like the rules of our world. Like what will we create? Like if we have, like, say, deities, magic, we have set down rules like what can be done, what can't be done. But for me, mostly it's about characters and continuity. We need to know the characters' names, how old they are, what they look like, who they're married to, who the relationships with, their personalities, because that's hard to lose track. If I do a story, it's like, it'll feel okay. Maybe this I can do this joke, or I can do this action partway through, and it's not true to the character, but we just kind of do it. It's like I did a previous video about trusting our characters. Like, do we tell a story organically, or do we force it? By changing them. And something we do without even thinking. I've done it. I mean, I know my Sword and Flame series is a perfect example. It's why I actually don't like writing series. I prefer just doing standalone novels. The first two books in that series I wrote as one book. But when I went to get ready to publish it, I found out that, when it's formatted, it's roughly double the page size. So I had a 1,000-page book all of a sudden. That's a bit much, especially for an indie author, so I cut it in half. And the books that came afterwards, as I added to it, because, readers wanted more. So I'm like, okay, I still have stories to tell, so I kind of, went away. And there's some character inconsistencies here and there, so it's because I didn't really know about a story Bible. You know what I mean? I heard of it, but I'm like, oh, that's easy to take care of. That's just easy to do. No, these are my characters. I know my characters, right? I can't mess this up. I mess some things up, but it's like, then you go back, you try to fix it, and everything. So it's kind of, when you have the Bible handy, it's easier to keep track of it. For me, the Bible is basically the characters. The characters, it's like, say, a fantasy world, like the places, things like that. But you have the characters and the continuity, like what you want to do with the characters. Because if the characters are straight, it's pretty easy to continue continuity, keep the continuity squared away. If not, you will catch in editing and rewrites. The characters, sometimes they can slowly change it, you don't know it. And it's not really growth, it's just, it seemed like a good idea at the time. At least that's my excuse. So we all make them, right? So that's one thing with it. It's like, for me, I learned that it's important to have that. Like, sometimes I don't have any idea for the characters, because if I get a rough spot in a story, and I need to want to keep it going, because it's just nothing else to do that, I will create a character and plug it in. Just like that. Okay, well, here's a character. Here's a female, male, whatever. They're in a story now, and it gives new life to it, gives it new juice, and we keep running. It's sometimes the best, sometimes not. Then you gotta weave it all together. But I found, like, when I started with the slasher experience, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to have this characters, because also, like, okay, well, I have the heroes and the ones that, are going to be the lambs. And I wanted to keep track of who was what. So I wrote the bios, their ages, what they look like, their personalities. Like, just real quick, bullet point type, one sentence things. And every time I'd start a scene with the characters, I would actually literally copy and paste them from one document, put them in that document, right below, like, say, chapter 22 or whatever. I put the characters and enemies in the scene. So as I'm writing it, I could just scroll up and see what it was. It's a little cheat, so I wouldn't have to flip through notebooks or flip through documents. So it's like, for me, it really helped out, because I'm like sitting there as they would meet their demise. Okay, check mark, check mark, check mark. I knew who wasn't there anymore. So then, hey, so and so, was killed on page like 15. Why is she appearing on page 120? One of those things that when the editor tells you about it, it's a type of moment. So it's fun. It's like, for me, it's fun. It's become almost habituate. I can't think of it right now. Become a habit anymore. So, it's still early in the morning, done my coffee yet. So it's a fun little experience, but it's kind of cool when you actually get the characters out there. It's like, okay, and then you can determine when you start writing it, which ones do work for my story, which ones don't work for my story. And you can kind of start weeding them out then. So it's kind of cool. It's, okay, it doesn't work, you just stop there. You don't have to worry about continuing. You can create a new character or tweak that character's past if you want to, because you didn't really get into them yet and not established. Just some little things there. But for me, I found story Bibles for a single book are very helpful. For a series, must have. must. Trust me, I've been there, done that. It's not cool. It's good to have the story Bible so you know what you're doing. It helps out a great deal. So let me know what you think. Do you prefer using a story Bible? Do you like to just wing it? Or you just keep it nice and simple, maybe just list the names and what they accomplished? Let me know what you prefer in the comments below. And thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. And until next time, have a great one.